We're gonna end with this. We could go on forever because but I will gladly sit down and we'll talk again if you'd like. I'm gonna be in Houston plenty. So, if you had to change one thing about gymnastics in the United States, what would it be? And we'll end with this question. It might go for a while, but I have an answer. Do you have an answer?
I don't know. I feel like this is kind of like the point that we were just talking
for
about.
Women's, for men's in general. I mean, this channel is primarily talking about women's gymnastics, but
I feel like as a whole, I love the sport, obviously. And there's still some kind of balance that there needs to be because it's not an easy sport, especially nowadays. It's not an easy sport. And I think we could see a kind of like Olympics back in the day and Olympics now. Like we're obviously doing some really high and risky things. And there has to be some type of discipline and some type of, effort put behind it. And
healthy
work,
expectations.
Right. And so there's still certain things that are there that you're like, okay, some things still have to continue because it's not something that's super easy. Like there has to be certain,
a level of expectation that is like a high rigor.
Yeah, but I think definitely, the changes that are currently happening to a lot of the things are good changes. I see them as positive things. And I think it's a point that you hit at your last conversation with her was that like Michaela's comments about like yeah. So it was like I think the changes are happening currently are not bad changes. I think they're good changes. I think as a whole, I think people are starting to see kind of the reality of things, and I hope that people are able to stop themselves if they are continuing something like they were in as athletes or they were in as, working with other people in the same system, being able to, stop and try to remember that it's not about you and it's not about the parents. It's not about anybody but the athletes and the athlete experience, So I think it is happening. And I'm glad it's happening in a way.
You think we're heading towards a good direction?
Yeah, I think we're heading towards a good direction. I don't think it's going to happen 100%. I feel like there's always going to be something, someone out there that still keeps like, kind of breaking the rules and doing whatever they want at the end of the day. As long as there is support for them. And then the parents know, the gymnasts know, the coaches know, I think we're moving on a good direction. So I think it's happening. Is there something that you have that's different?
Oh yeah. My answer is very different. I think, I have a lot of critique for our sport because I love our sport.
Yeah. I think this is a good conversation because I think I came from that system as an athlete, and I think it's like something that I always thought I wanted different. And so I think from your outsider perspective as well, from coming into the sport later on and kind of learning it, I think this is a good point, that you're what is it?
For me, and this is absent gymnastics a little bit, like not like in the coach, because I have a lot of critique for the sport. I love the sport a lot. I have a lot of things that I wish things would be different. I have a lot of things that I think USA Gymnastics and or coaches should be a lot more transparent about. So I have a lot. I could have a laundry list of things. I talk to my parents about these kinds of things constantly whenever I have meetings with them. But before all of that, the thing that I would change, and I'm not sure how I would, but the thing that I would change is I do not like that the barrier of entry for gymnastics is a financial one.
Okay.
I think that there is a lot of lower income kids out there.
Yeah, 100%.
That would be great at this sport. Yeah. That would be phenomenal at this sport. And unfortunately, they will never get to achieve any of that success, and they might not even be aware that they love this sport because of the fact that in order to do gymnastics, it is very expensive.
Yeah.
And it pays my salary, so I have to be a little bit realistic about it.
Yeah.
But me coming from a low income scenario as a kid, coming from a very specific way of life and upbringing that I had to overcome, I remember kids in my neighborhood. I remember when I go back to Mexico, I think about like the kids that like my parents grew up in the neighborhoods that they grew up in and things like that. And I think to myself, like, I actually think some of these kids would be great at this sport, and they'd never know it.
Yeah, just the opportunities.
They would never know it because the barrier of entry for this sport in terms of finance, in terms of a financial barrier, is so large that and there's some success stories. I remember there was like a male gymnast a while back. I think Orozco was his name, Orozco. I think he was like this. I think he was like a Cuban American.
Yeah,
I think he was like he was like I don't know if he was adopted or anything like that. Like Simone's clearly a success story, and like or like a scholarship that he was given or some sort of, you know, I forgot what it was. I'm sure there are success stories out there, but in general, like, community parks have basketball programs, soccer programs, baseball programs, like, and I'm not even sure that a gymnastics program at a community park would eventually lead to the kind of gymnast, because I know how hard it is to do this sport and how early you have to start and, like, you know, all that jazz, because even low income parents wouldn't be able to be like, I can't take my kid to 4 hours a day. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I've got 2 jobs,
which is crazy, because, you know, if you think about it, in the United States, it sounds crazy, but now, like, with Sebastian in Colombia, him being Colombian, it's a whole different system, because a lot of those athletes who end up being on the national team and elite level gymnasts and being able to represent their country and in different international competitions, most of those kids are those low income kids, and those are the ones that get dragged out of the streets or wherever they are, whatever they're doing, to be giving that opportunity. So it's really kind of just maybe switching up that system of just giving them.
Yeah, I think if I had to change something, I would change that.
Yeah,
I think of, like, the untapped talent that there is. Like think about the young girls. Think about how hard it is, especially because this is women's gymnastics. Like, think about how hard it is as a young girl, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old, early teenagers. Think about how hard it would be to, like, learn discipline, to learn how to, like, achieve really difficult goals through, like, grit and hard work. Like, think about how hard it is as a low income kid, as a you know, I think I would change that. If I had a magic wand and I could just write a blank check, I wouldn't make it easier. I wouldn't make it more expensive. I wouldn't make, like, coaches' salaries higher. Like, you know, like, that'd all be nice. But I think ultimately I would be, I think that there's an untapped market and a lot of kids that would really love to do this that don't get a chance to because of their economic status, their zip code.
Yeah, and I think even for, like, a middle class family, it's hard. Yeah, definitely.
So I would change that. I think that
I know I'm actually, like, on my way here yesterday, just, like, putting together my optional season, because I obviously want to get that out for my parents as fast as possible, just because I know, like, when you throw things at people, it's I
just put mine out too.
Yeah, it's hard, and I'm on my way here to, you know, online, like, what are good fundraisers? Like, I'm over here trying to help them out as much too, because I kind of put myself in that parent shoe, and I'm like, it's hard, and I obviously want my kids to participate, and I want them all to have the same experience, and you know, and just kind of, like, also supporting the parents as well. So yeah, I mean, when I tell you we're working 24/7, even if it's thinking about the kids, thinking about the gym, the equipment, the parents, the competitions, anything that we can do to help them, it's
if this channel ever becomes something so substantive where, like, there's enough eyes, I mean, I think that one of the things that I would probably, like, put a lot of my brain power into is, like, a charity of some sort or something.
Yeah, that
like
would be amazing.
Yeah, because I think about that all the time, and only because, like,
and feeling sometimes so helpless that like you get pulled into the office to have a meeting with somebody, and it's like, we just can't do this anymore. It's so expensive, or we got put in a situation where we had to, you know, use our money in a different way, and we just can't afford this anymore. And it's like just sitting there and not being able to do anything for that child, because you're like, oh my God, all the work that we put in and all that she has grown, and you know, like the success, you know, that she was gonna have, and then you're like, but I can't do anything about it. You know, it's definitely tough.
Yeah. I just think about myself. No, I don't think I would have been good at the sport, but I think I would have been good at the sport if I had a different personality. But I think when I was young, I was just so rebellious that I wouldn't have wanted to be here. But I think about what I would have felt like knowing that I was in love with something that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
And I think I have felt that way whenever I first got my dancing contracts and I couldn't travel overseas, and like it was such a horrible feeling that I think back like, man, imagine if a kid like realizes like, bro, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And like you can't. Mom and dad's like, I can't.
Yeah. Do you ever stop and like talk to your kids? And like, I feel like because we grew up in like, we don't come from like rich families and stuff. We can, I do this all the time with my kids where I'm like, hey, this ain't cheap. Like, don't come here and waste time. Like, your parents are paying a lot of money for you to be doing this. Yeah. Like, make it worthwhile. And again, if this is something that you guys don't want to do, say so. Like, we're not trying to force you guys to do something. Like, if you really aren't enjoying it, say so. Like, I'll support you. If at the end of the day tomorrow you want to go and dance or do basketball or whatever, hey, I'll come watch you, whatever, you know. But like, you know, being on the parent side as well and saying, hey, like, don't come here and waste your parents' time. Or like, hey, I want to do private lessons. No, like, I'm not making your parents pay money that if you're not really using the time efficiently, you know. So
I think we agree.
Yeah,
for sure. I think we're gonna have we have a lot more things to talk. I have so many things to talk about. I have like a laundry list of things that I want to talk about on this channel.
I just had a parent meeting the other day, and then I was like, literally like 2 days later, I'm like, I could have talked about this and talked about this and talked about this. There's so many things that we can talk about.
Yeah. So I don't think this is gonna be. Hopefully, this is not gonna be our last conversation. So you know, if I'm ever in Houston, we have some time, I can set up at your gym. So we're definitely gonna have to put this on pause, and we're definitely have to get the conversation back up and going. You know, again, multiple times. But I think this was great. Yeah, I liked it. It was fun.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I was definitely nervous, but it was.
Were you?
I
told you. Like once the conversation starts, everything's good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Alrighty, so do a shameless plug. Where can they find? Where can people find you? Do you have a coaching Instagram?
I don't have a coaching Instagram, but I should.
Does your gym have an Instagram?
Yeah, you guys can follow my team girls. Let me see. Let me make sure I don't tell you the wrong thing. We do have a Instagram.
If you're in Pearland, you can tell them what your gym is, and if you want some people to try out your program.
Yeah, so follow us at rpga.girls.team. And that's where we're kind of posting our kiddos and all of our little activities that we're doing.
I'm gonna follow you right now on Chalkbox Talk. So if you guys need to look for it, you guys can go to the people.
Yeah, follow us definitely.
What is it again?
RPGA.
.girls. .girls.team. I got it. So so you if you follow us at Chalkbox Talk, you could just go to our followers, and then we don't follow a lot of people, so one of the followers is Reflex.
Perfect. Thank you.
Reflex Gymnastics Academy, Pearland, Texas.
Yes,
cool.
Sir.
Alrighty. Well, that's another episode of Chalkbox Talk, episode 2. We're here with Marissa Mendoza. Thank you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, do all of the things. Share it. Tell all your friends. Put it on Facebook. Put it on YouTube. Like, comment, whatever it is that makes your heart happy. We're gonna keep bringing you some more episodes. I can't wait to have some more conversations. We really appreciate everything. Thank you guys so much in advance. Until next time. Bye.